Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap chat. This is CBiz Media, Irene, Faith, Love, and Trends. And we're talking 90 Day Fiance. This one's before the 90 days. All you 90 Day fans know that 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples. One person's from the US, the other's from another country. There's deadlines, there's cultural barriers, language boundaries, and a lot of craziness, a lot of messiness with this dynamic. It's 90 Day Fiance. This time it is before the 90 days that we're recapping and chatting about. Now let's start with Rick and Trisha. So they're supposed to be going their way to meet the parents. Not yet. I think it's like maybe the day before or whatnot. They're supposed to be packing, getting ready, something of that nature, right? Rick is hesitant. And now he's upset because she was talking about her ex and how when they were out, it was a restaurant that he took her to that she liked. And he's like, are you trying to get back at me or playing some type of game? Do you appreciate him more than me? Do you want to be with him? And she said, no, I prefer to be single than ever to go back to my ex. I'm not like you. She basically threw in his face the fact that he went back to his ex only after 5 days of not hearing from her. And slept with his ex in another country. Yes, sir, you exed up. So now you're gonna throw her ex in her face? I think it's ridiculous that he's yelling at her about her ex when he's the one that's wrong. She's still in the process of trying to forgive him, and he's yelling at her like he's her daddy. Don't yell at her like a child. He wants to know if she's committed. Then he wants to go if she's committed. But, excuse me, were you committed to her before this whole process started, before you met her, while you guys are still courting? It doesn't sound like you were committed then. How could she be sure that you're going to commit now that you guys have met and connected and hooked up and all the things you've done? He's giving crazy, afraid, old man, and he really should be afraid because he doesn't deserve this young lady. I hope the family reads him and sees him for who he is. And that might just happen on the next episode. So for Emma and Zayed, it's been a couple days since he dumped her. She ends up getting another room. They kind of show the process of, hey, how did she escape the desert alone? And they kind of show what she did. She asked for assistance from the person that was running the was it the glamping tents or whatever you want to call it in the desert. And it was funny how, did she happen to have all her things? Maybe not, but she did have a lot of bags going on that trip, that they were supposed to be doing a trip within a trip, but maybe she doesn't have all her things, but she has a lot of her things, because I remember she had a lot of bags. So what's next for her? She's FaceTiming her friend at the new place she's staying at. She's kind of crying over being dumped, left alone in the desert, tells her friend all this stuff. Says he sent her hate texts. Friend says that, she's a catch, not a gremlin, that he's trying to put her out to be. The friend was kind of funny. She also said, well, what does he think, he's Ryan Gosling or something like? It was just funny how the pop culture references that she was using in this situation. And she said, why don't you just leave these Moroccan men alone? But, Emma's like, I just text Muhammad. I text him. And her friend's like, well, why are you going back? Because he was not really that, that good to you either. Is it for closure or is it to rekindle something? Her friend Maddie, she cares about her and she just wants her to do what's best for her. But Muhammad says he wants to talk, so she looks like she's going to be up to meet him. She said they were madly in love for a lot of years. Like, how long were they even courting each other? No wonder she can't leave this guy alone. And she kind of messed up the thing with Zayed by going back with Muhammad, and then when that didn't work, she went to Zayed, or I hope I'm saying his name right, Ziyad or Zayed. And so what is so good about this guy Muhammad? Maybe we will find out. But I think, okay, if you need closure, go ahead, but if you're trying to rekindle something that hasn't worked after all of these years, I think you should probably kind of let that go. Because it should have worked by now, honestly. If it hasn't and you even went to be with another guy, what's the point of going back? I guess we'll see. So let's get back to Elise and Joshua, including Chris. And she jokingly suggests that they do a throuple thing on their way to this Melbourne Cup event. He's asking her, telling her the different horse names and which one should he bet on. Elise gets freaked out. She's like, thinks that Joshua's driving on the wrong side of the road. Of course, she probably hasn't been to another country before. Sadly, they missed the event, though, because the traffic was really bad. But I guess they stop at this bar, and after Chris gets out, the two of them steal a few kisses. And, they're walking around the town, and they're giving me Ocean's 11, like the way that they're dressed. They're all wearing sunglasses and suits and, a sexy gown. So they're just giving me some Ocean's 11 vibes. Like, what are you guys going to get into? So when they get into, I guess it's a restaurant, and they do a cheers and a toast, and he sounds like he's toasting his friend Chris more than he is Elise. And she's like, well, hey, what about me? So he redoes the toast. They start talking about partying, socializing, and all of this. And she's kind of like she's not partying like that these days. And Chris seems like he's still up for the party life. Joshua, he's not saying much, but he did say he wanted to settle down. So, she's not really sure how she feels about this conversation. Is Joshua a struggling party guy? Why is he still partying a lot when he knows he's struggling with his life and his career? Shouldn't he be focused on that? That makes sense. So when they get back to the Airbnb that Chris and Joshua rented, Elise goes and checks everything out, and she's kind of being very high maintenance about everything, saying, we need a bigger bathroom. We need this and that. I need you to get this and this and that. So he's like, okay, we're going to work on getting some of this stuff tomorrow. So she then, they have separate, he's giving her the room where Chris's picture is hauntingly sitting above her head. And he's going to sleep on the couch. She gives him a little good night tease, dresses in something a little sexy, and tells him to come say good night to her. He does so. And, they share some more kissing, but then he's a good boy. He goes to the couch, and, I guess he's trying to say he's trying to do the right thing. He said in a perfect world, he would have already slept with her as soon as he saw her. I'm sure that's what most men say. But I'm glad that he didn't push the issue and he didn't fall for temptation, because I'm sure that if he would have pushed it, she may have let him do it, because she obviously was trying to set him up with a sexy outfit she was wearing, trying to tease him a bit. As he gets on the couch to sleep for the night, he's kind of still concerned about the secrets that he has. So maybe that's what's haunting him, and he's not up for doing anything because of those secrets. I don't know. Most guys with secrets do try to rush you into bed, though, because they know that they're messy. But if he's really a good guy and wants to do right by her, then maybe he is, because he's not playing that card. Javon and Anna Lynn, they wake up together. They kind of have bedhead, especially Anna Lynn. The cat got sick, so they didn't get a chance to have dinner with Anna Lynn's mom that night. The cat's name is, I think, Meadow or Mitu, something like that. We find out that Javon clogs the toilet. So in her country, you're not supposed to put tissue in the toilet because the tissue just does not break down. So she's saying, you're supposed to use a bidet, then clean yourself and throw it in the trash can. And he's like, well, I just feel weird about throwing all that mess in the trash can. Well, then again, she says you're supposed to use the bidet first so it won't be so messy. All right, so after all that talk, let's go to mom cooking them some food. It was a lot of food for breakfast. He said, "Is this breakfast or dinner?" This was like a smorgasbord. I think there was some chicken there. There was some other items that seemed breakfast like, but he said the food was really good though. So mom's like, "How much longer are you gonna be here?" He's like, "Oh, a couple more weeks." She's like, "Well, really, it should be like a year. Oh, I wish it was a year." And mom's worried. She said, "My daughter basically waited 6 years, which was a too long of a time to be with you. 3 years married." And I think Anna's kind of surprised or not happy that he doesn't have any plans and no spousal visa prepared for her. Even they haven't made a plan for that. Because in that case, she could come up there with him, but so after all of this situation goes forth, a nice meal along with worry and mommy being kind of upset that Javon's not really planning on staying. Anna Lynn's walking around with an attitude, and he's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "You're not really helping around here." And he was chilling on his phone. I saw him just sitting there on his phone in the bed, chilling. She's like, "Javon's in my house. He's messy." And I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute. I thought that was you guys' house. I know he hasn't been up there yet, but he supposedly have paid all this money for you to get this house. You're not working at this time, so isn't it you guys' house together?" I don't appreciate the messiness, but look, you married this guy. This is what you sign up for when you find out you get married. Javon's complains that she's being too bossy. He said, "Okay, if you do want me to clean up, can you be sweet about it?" So he tries to mend things and take her out for a spa day, get a mani and pedi. She's like, "You know what? You really need one." And that makes me recall the first day he came when his feet were smelling really bad, and maybe it was his socks. I don't know. He's like, basically, she's really making him feel bad and being hard on him, like his feet are the worst things ever. So, when it comes to being romantic, it's like, "I'm trying to be romantic and do something for you here." He's like, "It's hard to be romantic when I'm being nagged." He said they were kind of having fun about it and saying, he's getting treated like a queen. The place was all pink and, it was more feminine based to this place. To me, the person that was doing his feet, I didn't know what was going on with that person, but something was not very appealing about this person. It was funny how he gets the mani-pedi. I'm sure a guy would love to have this beautiful woman doing his feet. This person was, they looked okay, but when they smiled, it wasn't so beautiful. I mean, it was kind of scary looking to me. Maybe it's just me. Sorry, no offense to you. And the person doing his feet had their nails done, looking very nice, but like, where's you guys' gloves? It's disgusting. You're touching people's bare feet here. Yucky. So, they start talking and they're arguing this whole time they're getting the mani-pedi. Aren't you guys supposed to be chilling, relaxing, enjoying this time? He says, makes some comment about how she got comfortable and don't ever get too comfortable. And it's the way he was saying, he explained that as far as when your relationship and after so long, people just start getting comfortable and kind of doing whatever they want. I guess he's trying to say you got to kind of stay on your toes. You got to kind of keep trying to make the person happy. Never just be like, just forget them and just go back to it's me time, it's my life. You have to always think about the other person and kind of try to, make them happy. And she says, "Well, I don't like this way you're talking to me. You keep watching those masculine man podcasts and you changed and you're not the same type of man." He's like, "Well, no, I didn't change. This is who I always was." So they're fighting in front of the technicians. And she's like, "Well, why are you, trying to do this power play on me?" He's like, "No power play. I'm powerless. You don't even listen to me anyway." He's telling her to just be respectful, and she's like, "You know what? I don't even want to be here with you. Just go home." Oh, she said no. She said, "Don't come home." She told him not to come home to her house. I mean, their house. So they got into it. Like, they keep getting into it, and I think I don't really know how to solve this. She's always ready to be upset, but he likes to also push her buttons when he could be a little nicer. Sometimes you just don't say anything if you don't have anything good to say. I mean, this is like too red flaggy, because it's like you guys are in the honeymoon phase. You guys are just meeting each other after being married for the last 3 years. Shouldn't you guys be being sweet talking each other and just having this amazing time and being so in love? They're already acting like they've been married for 10 years and they hate each other's guts. It's like they're giving red flag with their behaviors. Something's got to give. Maybe you guys should try counseling, because I don't think that this has to be something that has to be thrown away. It just has to be worked out and worked on, and they're going to have to kind of change their habits and their thought processes, their mindset, and stop being so offensive toward each other and realize, hey, you guys are together in this. This is your thing together. You're not against each other. You don't have to be. All right, Laura and Burkhan. So they're going up to another cool spot. This Burkhan has all of this cash to blow. I guess his gambling is going very well, because he told us he lives off of gambling. It's a red flag, but not enough for Laura to stay away from him in the bedroom. But anyway, they're going to these mountains. He says the mountains look like you know what. And I guess she's okay with his sense of humor. She said she likes the things that he's setting up for them to do, and she thanks him for that. They're going to these ancient ruins at this point. And she said, you're so full of surprise. He said, yes, I'm a surprise machine. He's kind of goofy. His humor kind of is like kind of offbeat. I get what he's trying to do. He's almost childlike to me. That's how I see him, but maybe because he's only 26 and I'm not, Anyway, there's some confessions that must be had that Laura's not going to tell right now, because they're going to enjoy this ruins trip. So they went to Ephesus, one of the 7 most ancient places in the world. Ephesians is a book in the Bible. So I'm like, oh, this is taking us back to those biblical times. I thought that was kind of cool. And they shared some historical facts. This area is over 3,000 years old. So they sit down in the ruins and talk. Hopefully these ruins is not a metaphor for what's to come. Laura voices her concerns, and she's like, well, I do have some concerns about our relationship, and she lets him know, hey, Michael wants to come up here. And then she says, I'm sorry, he already got a flight. So Burkhan is mad. She's even talking to him, much less that he's coming, without getting Burkhan's okay. And she kind of lets him know, hey, I didn't tell him to come. I told him I was going to think about it, but he just came. So Laura, she lets us know. She claims that she's always going to need her friend Michael's advice if they're going to be together, that he's going to basically have to accept her friend. And he says, and she says, your friends, they scope me out, so why can't my friend? He says, yeah, but my friends don't want to bleep me. Burkhan starts to get drunk. And finally, I guess they get back to their room the next day. I think this is the next day when they're back at their room. And here comes Michael. She's happy that he's coming. She says it feels good that he dropped everything to come see her. To me, I feel like she's playing both sides. I feel like she feels like, this makes her important. 2 men are fighting over her. She says it feels good, but it's complicated. She likes the 2 men fighting over her. I think she's like, well, Michael's on his way. He said hi. He's like, well, I'm not saying hi back to him. He says something like, I'm not 5. I guess he's trying to say he's not a kid. He's not a boy. He can't be fooled. So when they arrive, the first thing he says is, "Hi, friend." I guess he's trying to make Burkhan take his guard down, but they share like this big jolly hug, and to me, this hug is like a lot. It just seems like she's grabbing her long lost friend that she hasn't seen in years, and she's just so happy to see this person. To me, I see something more jovial than I do between her and Burkhan. The big hug, and she's giggling it up, and and Burkhan, he walks over there upset. Like, he really doesn't want to pay attention to this guy, but he welcomes him and acts like he's cool, but he's mad. So he goes, sits back down, and she's asked him, did they want something to drink? He's like, I don't want anything. So she leaves, and he's like, hey man, what are you watching? He's like, I'm watching Scarface. He's like, do you like classic or whatever films? And he's like, no, I like mobs and violence. He's just trying to scare the guy, right? He's like, what about you? He's like, do I like classic movies? He's like, no, do you like violence? It was funny. I mean, it was a put on. You can tell that Burkhan was trying to set something up, make him feel a certain type of way. And all that, Michael could respond is like, golly, that was so goofy. So, Burkhan could probably take him in a fight if all he can say is golly. That was an entertaining moment. Now for Daniel and Lisa, we're closing out. It's the morning after the whole everything comes out. Not everything, but the 5 marriages comes out. And hey, I'm still married on paper, but I'm started the divorce process. So he feels like he's committed all types of sins against his culture by being with someone that's still married on paper. So she tries to contact Daniel, text him back and forth, and he hasn't said he loved her or anything. I think he said some stuff back, but he hasn't said he loved her. So what's next? She planned to get away for them. This is before everything went down, and she hopes he comes and they can try to fix this relationship. So when they meet up, he's like, I couldn't sleep. And we know that she was drunk, I think he said he cried all night. His reaction is proof to her that he's madly in love with her. And she's going to try to fight for this. He then tells her, you do have to talk to my uncle and all of this before we can go forward. And she just wants him to work things out with her alone. It's like, well, why don't you give it a couple days? Why do we have to go straight to your uncle? And that's because she's trying to get the nerve up to tell him about the fact that not only is it another person she's married to, this person, is a woman. So he's afraid that the ancestors are going to get revenge on him if he doesn't settle this right away. The ancestors' revenge. So as she's offering to take him on this trip. He said, is this a trip or a trap? And she's like, no, I kind of just paid for this place and I really don't want to lose my money. He says he's upset. He still loves her. And he's trying to forgive her, but she has to come clean about everything. Oh, it's going to happen sooner than later. So they're going to this place. I think it's like a 3-hour trip. And she's like, this is like the boonies. What is this? A boonies resort. So when they get into the resort, it's a spider there. And, she's freaked out by the spider. Daniel starts kicking the spider in her direction. She's screaming and crying. And basically, he seems like he doesn't really want to be there like that. And he's basically confesses, I did this because I didn't want to waste your money. So we're not going to sleep together. We're not going to kiss or anything like that. So just don't expect any of these things to happen. He says he needs to talk to the oracles. And she's like, oh, come on, just give it a couple more days. Can you just hold on a minute? So she was crying all night because of the things that happened, and he cuddled her because they have to sleep in the same bed, obviously, because this is how the resort is set up. And of course, she only got one bed. So when they go out to actually hang out at the resort, it's basically empty, kind of run down. Doesn't look like the pictures. They're holding hands. They try riding this 2-person bike together, which that's going to be a reoccurring theme. Not on this, but on another 90 Day show. We'll talk about it later. He says he'll love her forever, but he says no secrets and no lies, because they start having fun at this resort. And now I think they're sitting by a bonfire watching some dancers, and just everything is, it's almost like he's having so much fun. They're holding hands, they have good vibes, like, oh, this is nice. She says it's run down looking, but he's digging it. And I don't know if it's because she's able to buy him things and do things for him too, but he's loving this whole situation. I feel like he's on the verge of forgiving her. It's like, well, wait a minute. You were talking about secrets and lies. I got one more. And she confesses, the person I'm married to is a woman. You're the first man that I've been with in 21 years. So, of course, we get this look of shock. And he says a little something. Not much is said because they're going to save it until next time, I guess. But that's it, guys. 90-Day Fiance before the 90 days. Daniel and Lisa, they seem to always steal the show. What are your thoughts, comments, questions? Let me know. Email me, cbiztv@yahoo.com, or stop in at cbiztvmedia.com and check us out on our other platforms. I'll talk with you guys again. All the best, and God bless.